Welcome to our
Old
Monday morning,
school.
guys.
Yeah, welcome back to Eagles Nest Podcast. Going old school for those that, well, the whole two people that used to watch us back in like 2022. Uh, now we've like four. Anyway, I'm Brad Brewer, of course, with the Eagle Homes team, broken by Coldwell Banker. This is another episode of the Eagles Nest Podcast, and today we are on Zoom because it's a holy blizzard outside.
Yeah, it's a little bit of whiteout. What do you think? I'm guessing we got about 8 inches of snow right now, give or take.
If I look at the top of the patio table on my deck, it's like this. I think that's
Yeah,
about 2 feet.
that's
So
impressive. That's crazy.
yeah,
Like, who would have thought? I mean, golf courses, some golf course. I mean, for those that don't know, gosh, if you don't know, you're not watching us or paying attention. We're golf junkies. Golf courses opened
yes,
a
we
week
are.
ago, and now they're closing for a couple weeks. Um, man,
Yeah, and the funny thing is, if you look at the forecast for this week, this stuff's gonna be melted by Thursday,
yeah.
probably.
Well, yeah, I'm guessing early next week, just because there's so much of it, right?
It
It's
could take into next week, but
yeah.
unless it changed, I'm gonna give you guys I'm gonna be the up to date weatherman on the forecast here
Hey,
because
best news is you only have to be 25% right, Brad.
this is true. I could be a weatherman and keep my job.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
probably by the weekend actually, really starts to warm up Thursday, Friday, and then almost 60 on Saturday. So probably by the end of the day, Saturday,
Well,
I'd
it's
say
done.
we could be. But I'm
Yeah.
not shoveling. I refuse to shovel. I'm just gonna plow forward. Not doing it. I get to a certain point and I just
Just
say that I don't care.
just drive through it. There we go. All
I
right.
refuse to shovel.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm Vince
mailman or
Devall.
package delivers. Anyway, go ahead, Vince.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm Vince Devall here with Brad today. Today we're jumping in talking about something a lot of families deal with when buying or selling a home, and that's moving with small kids or pets. Gosh, I mean, Brad, you've moved with the dog a couple times. I know anytime I get a
Yeah.
suitcase out or start packing something, the dog is just like following me around like a lost child. It's crazy.
Mhm. Yeah, they sense those things. Moves are they're obviously I think they're one of the most stressful things for clients. I say it all the time. As smooth as your whole sale purchase process could go, I said I just don't sugarcoat. I said, well, moving sucks. Unless you want to pay the money and literally have everything done for you, meaning a company come in and pack and move you, unpack you, which there are companies that do that. I
Right?
don't know the cost, never done it, but then you add in the mix though with moving and the whole thing with small kids, toddlers, dogs, cats, or even some other types of pets, especially fish tanks and stuff like that. Things can certainly get interesting very quickly.
Right. Yeah, yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, so this week we're going to share some practical tips to make moves smoother for the entire family, including our four-legged members or those ones that slither or crawl, whatever you might have. Who knows? Some of you might
Ugh,
have a three-legged member, not really sure, but yeah, we're going to jump into that today.
ugh. I don't like the slithering one, but anyway.
Oh, come on. It's
So
fine.
for, first part of this obviously is prepping the we're gonna pause on the animals for 1 second, but prepping the kids for the move,
Yeah.
right?
So, Brad, what would you say is one of the most important things parents can do to help prepare their kids emotionally for this move?
Certainly done this quite a few times. I'm sure it's one of the traumas of my kids' childhood. Um, but is to communicate early and often. Kids often feel uncertain when big things happen, big changes happen, and so if you're taking a move, what's really time to do is you want to help and include them rather than surprise them. So, why are we moving? What's happening? Where the new home is, what it's going to be like. Of course, it's nice. I know kids aren't always taken to showings, but maybe inspection or some point, make sure you get the kids over there before you move. I think that's an important thing.
Oh
And
yeah, like
um,
I agree. Involving my kids, sometimes I show a new family a home, and the
mm,
kids already like as the agent, I'm like, all right, Brad, which room is yours, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it gets them bought into the excitement, and then it's
Mhm.
well, if you could paint your room, what color would you paint it, right? Because almost every
Yes.
parent's like, all right, we're gonna repaint before we move in. It just helps that kid adjust and make it feel like theirs, right?
Yeah, I like what you just said there with the little things. Let them do some of those personal touches to their rooms, especially if you plan on being there a while. Maybe it's not what you would have chosen, but it's what they like, and it definitely makes them feel part of the process. And and letting them pack too, pack their own toys. Obviously, I know kids at certain ages aren't going to, do that. Um, I think the easiest thing you get toddlers involved. Sometimes you get them involved in some of the little things we talked about, but family, friends helping watch them during the moving process is just the best way to
Yeah.
do it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But
and I'm a huge fan of rewarding, right? So sometimes, making it exciting, rewarding the kids, giving them something, maybe it's, hey, when we move in, we can change your room from pink butterflies to now Transformers, right? Or whatever. Um, make it super exciting for them, reward them for being helpful, and then allow them to be part of the decision making when it all comes down to it. Because you're
as
right, it's
much
not.
decision that yeah, it's as much decision making I think is the big thing as possible, and as much involvement as possible
Yeah.
in the entire process. I think would
Yep.
be a great summary. So, all
Yeah.
right,
Let's
we
jump
just
into
kind of
number
referenced.
two.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
referenced the pets, keeping the pets calm. So Vince, we know pets are creatures of habit. What are some things, the ways to reduce stress? Because pets, I've done that. You mentioned it. I've done it recently myself. So how do you ease the stress of a pet moving?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is try to keep that routine as normal as possible. Uh, because if the pets see obviously the stuff disappearing, their bed getting packed up, all of a sudden the couch is moved, right? Whatever it might be, try to keep it as routine as possible. So that means simple things like if you continuously fed them at 7 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m., like keep that consistent. Um, and when you are, and same thing with like walking or playing, like don't pack their toys the first time. Keep their toys out. Let them have something that they can fall back to as maybe it's their
Mhm.
favorite chew toy. Maybe it's, their favorite ball that you play catch with, whatever. Keep that stuff as consistent as possible. And then, if you're packing a whole room, such as, the bedroom or whatever, keep them in another quiet space of the room, especially when moving day does come. Like when you get to moving day and like all of a sudden you got 20 people in the house, maybe you're sending the dog to a friend's house to play for the day so they're not as confused or thrown off by what's going on. And then,
Yeah.
when transporting them, transport them with their familiar bedding, toys, whatever it might be. Uh, Dramamine is not the answer. I mean, I've heard that before, but Dramamine is not the answer. Um, and then when you get them into the home, another helpful trick is letting them pets explore one room at a time in the new home, right?
Hmm.
Obviously, please make sure you've walked around the outside of the house, they're able to smell, mark their territory, whatever, because they get inside. The last thing you want is your dog to have the first accident in the house.
Yeah, yeah. I think I like what you said there as far as introducing them to the actually outside first. Um, this that can be difficult on days like today, of course, but
Yeah,
hopefully you're moving on a better day to be able to do that outdoor acclimation, their area outside, introducing us things like that. You made a comment earlier in the intro, which I thought was kind of funny because it's funny, especially dogs, they sense like usually if my dog when I pull out a suitcase, the dog that's usually me leaving and not going with. So making sure like it's funny. I'll say to Macy, no, you're going with, and then she starts getting, you can almost like they recognize it. She starts getting excited versus the
right.
other way, which is she starts to get angry and starts tugging at the suitcase. Like, no, you're not going anywhere. It's hilarious how, especially dogs are very in tune to things like that. So,
Yeah,
making it super easy. And then, yeah, I think sometimes just like certain kids at certain ages, we're just removing them for a portion of it from the home, doggy daycare, whatever it is. I think super
yeah,
fun with dogs.
yeah.
No.
Yeah,
All right.
now jumping back
Yeah, go
into
ahead.
kids, Brad,
Hmm.
packing a house is already a project, right? We all know, even packing for vacation, you get stressed out about packing for vacation. Now we're packing a whole house. What advice
Hmm.
do you have for parents trying to pack while kids are still living in the home? Not your
I think
first
this
rodeo.
is,
Let's go.
Yeah, I think this is a similar strategy, honestly, to what we give just people in general, meaning pack in stages. I've always been a big, go room by room, don't jump around the house. So I think it's similar to that. But then also with families and kids, um, you know, even though you're going room by room, start packing stuff that you don't need,
Yeah.
right away. Uh, then keep the kids' essentials box, toys, books, comfort items with some of the last stuff which was going to go, which is usually, your bed or bedding or stuff like that. And then maintain a small play area at least until the last day if you can for, really smaller kids. And I'll even throw one more thing out there before I let you think of, I'm sure, things you've got with kids,
Yeah.
is I think it's important to also maybe make it fun. Like if you have to move bedding out, what kid doesn't love the camp out in the living room, right? Do that
Yeah.
with your kids,
Yep.
enjoy it. Keep a little iPad or something you watch movies on. Make it fun, right?
Yeah, I think that is key for any small, like you said, keep it fun, keep it simple, and keep them involved, right? Make them part of it. It's kind of like the good example is kids are home from school today. Obviously, this little bit of
Mhm.
snow and ice and rain we got today, or last night and today, kids are out of school. But it's, if I said, hey, I want you to pack your room, they're gonna be like, where the heck do I start? Well, make them like a small project list. Kids are driven by goals. A lot of kids are driven by goals and seeing a list get checked off, just like me. Like tell the wife all the
Yeah.
time, create a list for me and I'll eventually get it done. Depends. If it's golf season, probably not. Um,
I like the eventually I'll get it done.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's pretty
So
spot on for sure.
try to keep it normal for them, right? As much as possible. Make it fun. I think are the key things for kids while they're moving. And then
Yeah.
obviously, you know, when it gets to a new house, let them be part of the unpacking, right? Let them be part of putting away the kitchen, putting away their bedroom, because
Hmm.
then they're more engaged on that. So yeah,
Yeah.
and that drives us into like kind of what happens next, Brad.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say along with that, what you said, help loving part of the unpacking, kind of similar to the dog, you know, introduce them to their area first and stuff like that. So I think it's all
Yeah.
pretty key. So, all right, so you've done all this prep. Now we got to get to the moving day strategy. Um, then it's moving day obviously can be very chaotic. Um, what is a good strategy for families with kids and pets on the actual moving day?
Gosh, I will tell you guys, if you're moving and you have younger children and pets, it doesn't matter the age of the pet, find somebody to help watch them. Send them on
Mhm,
a play date, send them overnight to grandma and grandpa's house, friends, family, whatever. Same thing with the dog, the cat.
mhm,
Send them somewhere for daycare or,
mhm,
the overnight or whatever weekend. Because they get distracted quickly, especially when it comes to children, distracted quickly, bored easily, and it's a lot going on, right? It's already stressful enough for you as parents. Send them out, like send them to somewhere, maybe break up the day a little bit if you're able to. If you have a long-term occupancy, like let's say you got a week to move, right? Then break it
mhm,
up into smaller sections.
mhm,
Otherwise, try, if you're stuck, let's say you don't have friends, family, people to do that with, find a place in the new home where you can, you know, put them, create an atmosphere that's fun and quiet for them with activities. Maybe it's they're playing board games, maybe they have a couple friends over and whatever. But keep it somewhat fun for them. This helps make the move safer, less stressful, and it allows you guys as parents to move quicker. Unless you're paying movers, and kudos to you.
Right. Well, and I like what you said there regarding ideally they go on a play date with a friend, the state of friends, the state of grandparents, whatever, because is all the stuff that we're talking about to make it less stressful. Then ultimately you also need to keep your stress levels down because your stress level is already high. So
Yeah.
I think it's super important to do that as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Once the move's complete, Brad, obviously, how can parents help keep kids settled into the new home faster, adjust to the lifestyle? Maybe, the schedule's changing. Maybe schools have changed. Obviously, the house, the location, their friends might have changed. How do parents help adjust to this?
I can tell you, I know we used to do this because, again, my poor kid, I think I moved her more than any child in the earth. But is you want to make the home feel like your home as quick as possible. I know we used to do this, set up the kids' rooms first, make that a priority. Unpack their favorite toys, the blankets, explore the neighborhood, especially with kids. They want to see, all right, new neighborhood. Do they already know, a kid or several kids in the neighborhood, things like that. So try to, again, keep the atmosphere fun and then let them explore because kids love to explore too. Find, is there an ice cream shop close by that you can walk to or other little adventures to keep the stress levels down?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, it's a lot for anybody, right? Even pets, but your kids in general. Whatever you could do to make it fun and exciting for them is
Mhm.
key, right? Maybe it's you're helping them introduce to new kids in the neighborhood. Maybe you're the one that initiates that conversation, right? Like you're the one
Right.
that goes, "Hi, this is Skylar. Skylar, meet so and so," right? Or have a neighborhood play date, right? Invite the
Yep.
kids over the neighborhood, and have
Yep.
them explore. Let them introduce them to their own new rooms, invite friends over, whatever it might be. So yeah,
Yep.
that's
All right,
awesome.
then. So let's now we got the other kids, the four-legged ones,
Yeah,
or slithering ones, I guess. But I think the four-legged ones are usually the ones that we're usually most concerned about
yeah.
adapting and adjusting. So what do you do?
Every pet's a little bit different. I think it just depends on the age of the pet, how attached they are to their old home. It could take anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. But, some helpful tips are if you have a certain bed, like, a certain bed that they're used to, a certain, like, maybe safe space in your old house. Like our dog has at night, she kennels, she sleeps in a kennel. Like,
Hmm.
introduce her to those safe spaces. Reintroduce her to her favorite toys. If it's, sitting down on the couch and, throwing the toy in the living room or going out in the backyard and have them, play at the ball, whatever, but introduce them to those things that they're familiar with. Next thing is get back on schedule, right? Because we know
Hmm.
during that move, that schedule probably got screwed up. So feeding times, walks, play time, that probably all got screwed up during the move. And then give them a little extra attention, just like you would your normal kids. Give them a little extra attention during this time of change, so that
Hmm.
they can feel comfortable and feel like, yeah, this is our new home. And and for dogs especially, walk them around the new neighborhood early so they begin to recognize their surroundings.
Hmm.
Because that's also important to them, is when they walk out in the backyard and they, see something across the way, they know that that is their new normal.
Yeah, I I think it's so funny how we could almost we could always just summarize these with pets and kids together because there's I think they're so similar with things like their schedule, that routine, that
Right?
familiarity with certain things that give them comfort. So I think
Yep.
overall to summarize, that is the routine schedule, the familiarity with their stuff, and even the dogs, probably more the kids than the dogs, is making them a part of it. I think would be a good thing. So, but either way, moving with kids, pets is definitely it adds extra layers. It does add stress to you as the parents. So I think if you can if you can keep things as smooth for them, it's gonna bring down your stress levels.
Oh gosh, yeah, and you got to make it an exciting experience, right? So,
Yeah.
if anybody out there is planning a move, our team at Eagle Homes is always here to help guide you through the process, planning it out, helping you understand like the ins and outs of
Hmm.
pet care, daycare, whatever it might be, um,
Hmm.
the schools, whatever. We're here to help you along the way. Myself, Brad, anybody on the Eagle Homes team, don't hesitate to reach out to one of us. Start the conversation about what those life changes looks like, how you can transition, how we can help make it easier for you. So,
Yep.
yeah,
So we've always got these different tips. We've got resources or referrals to resources that can certainly help you. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Another odd but different version of the Eagles Nest podcast.
right.
Quick reminder: one of us not me, will not be here next week, so we will not see us again until April, I believe.
That's true.
Which hopefully there's
Maybe.
less snow and
Yeah.
maybe.
Hopefully. Hopefully less snow. So, all right, guys, have a great week. We'll talk to you later. Bye.